When it comes to art today, Singapore seems teeming with choice. We encounter art in museums, parks, train stations, even in neighbourhoods. Art surrounds us as a result of the state's concerted effort in policy, infrastructure, and funding from the late 1980s. But this was not always the case. What was it like for art in the 1970s?
Singapore River. Singapore River, Singapore River, and Singapore River. And maybe kampongs.
In those days, right, I think realism is much more popular.
What else? Still lifes. It was very standard watercolor, oil paintings, Chinese brush paintings.
In the 1970s in Singapore, we would primarily see exhibitions focusing on paintings or sculptures, as well as woodcuts.
Usually, I play with materials and talking to people, and then I make many things, not art, just make things.
Perhaps we can't talk about the 1970s without talking about Tang Da Wu. He stands as a steadfast teacher figure and also an artist who's committed to serious play. His approach in thinking and making art is unconventional, working across performance, installation, drawings, and painting.
I enjoy dirt and becomes treasure, like an artwork. But usually we work on it. Now it rises to be an artwork. No? Like an alchemist way making things. So these are my 2 feet deep in the mud. 泥足深陷，拔不出来了。That means my involvement in the art. Yeah. Keep on playing.
Yeah. Do you consider your work as finished ever?
No. I don't have finished work. They all still developing. Yeah. I think my concern is the doing, the process, the making. And they are not into a final and polishing and becomes an answer. Never. I don't like it. They are a precious thing to me.
Da Wu was formally trained in sculpture, spending 4 years in Birmingham before pursuing a year of advanced studies at the St. Martin's School of Art. During this period, Da Wu became drawn to process rather than the end result.
My way of working is, I don't know.
Where, what, how?
I don't know all the things, but I need to, lay a bit here, a bit there, surrounded by many materials and objects. Then gradually they tell me what they want to be.
So always a dialogue with your work, always a dialogue with the material.
Yeah.
Never your own vision. The material tells you where they want to be or they should be also.
Yeah.
Right.
By the 1970s, the independent nation state was into a period of rapid modernization, with one top priority being housing.
I stayed in a kampong until the late 70s or early 80s, and then we were all relocated, to HDB flat.
We had very direct contact with nature because we still able to see a lot of it in areas that we live. The landscape changed a lot. We lost even more of our secondary forests, and amongst nature groups, there was a huge concern that we must fight to conserve some of our very precious ecological areas.
This has been called something of a massive territorial transformation, which was relentless So it's not accidental that many artists have had to grapple with this spatial transformation. From an art historical perspective, in terms of the emergence and the growth, the development of contemporary art, Tang Da Wu's earthwork of 1979, 1980, that would be a marker. And of course, this was land and environmental art even before the movement took root in Singapore and Southeast Asia.
This wide expanse around me recalls a typical scene in Singapore in the 1970s, before large swathes of land were cleared for the development of public housing. On one of these vacant plots, on the edge of Sembawang Road and the Upper Thomson Road, Da Wu got to work. Land was both a source and stimulation for his art, collaborating with soil, the sun, rain, and wind. He produced a series of studies and works he simply titled Earthwork. This is where you get your soil.
很多
Yeah.
都是很美的 So beautiful. They are my inspiration. Humble earth. No need to go to art shop. You can see they stay.
They do.
Look at that. Perfect yellow and it's permanent. Treasure. This is treasure. Not dirt. Definitely treasure. So 1979, when I returned, I found this. 45 years, I still use them, but every time different way.
This is not too different from 100% Earth.
Right.
All Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
我说老土是我，
老土是你好。Yeah.
我不要做特别的人，我是很普通的老土。
You know, 1979 Earthworks, what was the calling? Was the land calling for you, or you came back and you felt like you needed to?
Oh, I found this accidental.
Accidental?
Yeah, through my jogging, running, and then seeing, pick it up and try. Fascinated by how gully is created. Impossible. It was on flat land. And gully, many gully. So I try many ways of recording the process from very shallow to deeper and deeper by laying the curtain, and it recorded that sinking, and it making marks there. Fascinating, yeah. Not thinking about art at all, but just fascinating.
Da Wu titled his work so literally, they are almost poetic. They reveal his intimate exploration and playful experimentations on this plot of land. In Earthwork, the quality, character, and form of the land become visible.
When you consider the use of the environment and the use of the natural elements, the weather, the sun, the rain, and of course mud, and therefore you can trace this creative arc from 1979 Earthwork to even his recent exhibition, I Don't Like Fine Art. And it's almost suggesting by that line that the realm of fine art could in some sense be quite divorced, quite separated, quite disassociated from the ground, from the earth, from soil, which we depend so much on.
Da Wu returned to London to further his studies at Goldsmiths College of Art. He returned to Singapore in 1988 with his family. Together with a few other artists, Da Wu established a contemporary art colony, the Artist Village.
When we get off the bus at Sembawang, we didn't realize actually that the village was quite deep, quite far away from the main road. So there was this pickup truck that would actually pick up the audience and then drive us deep inside to reach the artist village. It kind of showed me that you don't have to present art in a cube environment. It can happen anywhere you choose.
The Open Studio was the first exhibition organized by the Artist Village, and it marked a different way of engaging with the public. In the past, the public had no access to the Artist Studio, and what the Artist Village did was to demystify the artistic processes by inviting the public into their artist studios. They could interact directly with the artists and to see artworks that were still works in progress.
I recall Da Wu sharing many memories of that period, including this performance of his interaction with a goose. To be able to live very close to the land in an environment such as the Artist Village and to create art, that is something which is very different from a kind of intellectual preoccupation with spatial transformation.
What it makes me feel as an artist, as a young artist at that time, is that you can think outside of the box. What you read in textbooks and all that can be explored differently, can look creatively different.
Da Wu had a big part to play with it, but also I think Artist Village was, as a concept, was made out of a confluence of many artists coming together.
Artists could learn from each other simply by being there in the space itself in their studio. So we started to have artists who were collaborating with each other.
It inspired us to sort of imagine what collectivity would be. How do you kind of work as a collective?
The Artist Village became a fertile cultivation space for young artists and their experimentation, giving rise to performance art in Singapore.
Where's my filter? The ultraviolet filter, the ozone layer.
This is Keong Saik Road. Today is filled with boutique hotels, trendy bars and restaurants, and hipster cafe. But just about 2 generations ago, it is known for a different sort of recreational pursuit. Apart from brothels, Chinese medicinal shops were also aplenty in Chinatown. This was the setting for one of Da Wu's seminal works, Tiger's Whip, I Want My Penis Back, in 1991. Da Wu wanted his message to be received outside of a gallery space, allowing the public to encounter these issues directly. In the performance, Da Wu made his way around 10 life-size tigers constructed from wire mesh and white linen, while he channeled different personas as poacher, tiger, and man consuming the aphrodisiac. Tiger's Whip was not the only performance lamenting the loss of nature and animal extinction. Between the late 1980s to 1990s, Da Wu also made works highlighting the plight of other endangered animals.
All the subject matters are not important. Important is meeting the audience. I get the first-hand response. Best when they say, this is not art, you are not an artist. Okay. I'm very grateful to that person. 在 artist 工作的过程中，美跟丑是一样的。Praise and criticize are equally important. 一定要做好了、完整的，跟做失败了、不成功了，也是一样的 important。问题是你有心去做 ，OK， 这样就够了。我对 make art or not make art 没有兴趣，我对人生的意义很感兴趣，我很想知道。到现在为止，我还不能够完全知道为什么我活在这个地球上，我还在寻找。我想通过这个 practice like an artist， 我不是 artist，like an artist， 可以让我们知道人生的意义。
5 decades on, times have definitely changed, and Da Wu is no longer the young man he was in 1970s. Yet he remains playful, unorthodox, and provocative. His sustained and thoughtful engagement with the land continue to inspire the contemporary art scene in Singapore today. Last question. What would Da Wu say to the current or even future generation beyond all our lifetimes here? What would you tell them?
Don't make art, make question.